Welcome back to another episode of the Mets Shit Pod. I'm your host, Mets Shit Posting, and today I'm answering your questions. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Mets Shit Pod. I'm not sure what episode this is still. Playing with my mic here. Give me a minute. All right. So I put a question thing on my story for you to answer questions. I also made a post, so I'm going to check the story one first. But before I do that, I just kind of want to talk about what the Mets' current situation and what their outlook can look like. I think it's time for us to move past what happened. You know, as much as it sucks and we can talk about it all we want, we can either do one of two things. We can either sit and bitch and moan about it, or we can look forward and try to kind of see what their plan is, if they have a plan, and also who are the key pieces to that plan. So personally, I think the biggest no-brainer move of this offseason is to bring in Cody Bellinger. He fits exactly what you need at both positions, first base and outfield. And he is a top free agent right now. It is a no-brainer to bring in Cody Bellinger. It blows my mind how the Mets are not more aggressive with him. I'm coming down with something, so if I sound a little nasally, then that's why. But here you are, you just lost your first baseman. You just trade away your outfielder. You want to put an emphasis on defense. Bellinger has a great glove. So, Stearns, why are we not going after him? Why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me because it would make perfect sense for the Mets right now. It would make perfect sense for this team to add Cody Bellinger. And yet, I'm hearing nothing. Not a thing. Really nothing at all. There's no rumors. There's nothing about the Mets offering anybody anything. It's just like they just got rid of people, and now that it's just kind of just sitting with their hands down their pants. And it seems like there are many different directions that this can go. But I'm getting no semblance of anything from anybody in the organization of what they want to do. We know Stearns puts a premium on defense, and Bellinger is a Gold Glove caliber outfielder who is available. I don't know. Still haven't just started pitching. Still haven't. You just lost Ty Rogers to the Blue Jays, so now who's your bullpen? You got nothing really, and it's just frustrating. It just keeps piling on the frustration for this team. We were promised a championship in 5 years, and now everything's just fucking blown up. But I'll make a whole different episode on Mets potential fits. I'm sure I'll talk about it today. I posted stuff on my Twitter, at Mets Shit Posting on Twitter. The handle right now is Football Shit Posting because it's still football season. But I put 2 scenarios on there that I think would be good for the Mets. But without further ado, I know why you guys listen to this. You want me to answer your questions. All right? So, the first question from Dace1104 is, do you think firing Jeremy Hefner was a mistake? And to that I say no. I say no because he's been there for a very long time. And while the pitching and the pitching lab was great in the beginning of the year, that's really it. Everyone in the beginning of the year talked about how great these Mets pitchers were, how David Stearns was a genius, and this pitching lab was just outstanding. And then they just completely fall off. They completely fell off the face of the earth. They were terrible. And I know that there's only so much that a coach can do. But if you're in the position where your starters are struggling and you're not doing enough to help them, that's your job. That is your job. if you should be able to see on analytics or whatever that this pitch shouldn't be thrown, that this shouldn't, in this situation, shouldn't do this. Like, I don't know how baseball coaching works. I gotta be honest. I coach football. Baseball is not my realm coaching wise, but I know that when there's a player of mine struggling with a certain thing, you work with them and work with them and work with them. And if Hefner wasn't doing that, or it wasn't getting through to anybody, and wasn't happening efficiently enough, then he had to go. I think they made the right move by getting rid of everybody, not just Hefner. I think the first base coach wanted way too much, and no, I don't think it was a mistake. I think that's just part of business, right? That's how it is. Everyone said to get rid of everybody, and that's what they did. So, I don't think it's a mistake. On a scale of 1 to 10, Crime Dog 64 asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much confidence do you have in Stearns as a Mets GM? Right now, I'm going to say 5. I don't like the moves, but I can kind of understand the reasoning. Right? The core hadn't won anything. No, it wasn't their fault. I mean, I don't see why we couldn't get starting pitchers and kind of run it back for one more time, and then see if from there. Because I feel like this core has very few times been the problem, and I understand that they've been the main guys here while you haven't won. But are we really better off without that? I mean, you got to replace Pete's 40 home runs and Nemo's 25 home runs. So you got to replace 65 home runs. And Nemo almost had 100 RBIs, and Pete had like 140. So that's a lot of runs you got to replace. And who out there right now is going to replace that? Who? The only guy that I can think of is Kyle Tucker. But I highly doubt the Mets sign him. So who? Or what guys? What combination of people? Are you going to hope on the prospects? Like, I don't know. It's very shaky. So I understand him wanting to build his own team and do his own thing and put it the way that he wants. But the choices that he's making are highly questionable. If you told me that one of Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso would be gone, I would be more okay with Diaz because we signed Devin Williams. So there was at least a viable backup option because Devin Williams, even though he had a bad year, he can still be very good. But the backup option to Pete at first base and just in your lineup is not there. It's just simply not there. So that's what didn't make most sense to me. And people ask me if I'd rather have Diaz or Alonso. I'd rather have Alonso just because you get so much run production from his one bat. You have him and Soto. I know the offense this year was kind of up and down, but towards the end of the year they started to figure it out, and the pitching just collapsed. So you didn't address the main issue. Oh, excuse me, which is the pitching. So I'm gonna try to be a little bit optimistic and see where he wants to take this team, and I'm gonna try to have faith. Maybe he builds a very good defensive team, and we scratch out games and we do good. But as of right now, I just don't know who's gonna be driving runs besides Soto and Lindor. That's it. I mean, I don't know. I'd say a 5. That's my answer. Very 50-50. All right. Next question. If I could scroll to it. Steve will do it. Says, who would you hire if you were Cohen? I don't know. See, I'm not too in depth on GMs and stuff. I mean, everyone thought that Stearns was a great option. I mean, we all heard about Stearns. So if I was looking for a GM at the same time Cole was, I guess I'd say Stearns, but I'm not really too sure. I don't really know. I think I would hire maybe someone from the Mets past to be like a bench coach or something. Maybe bring back Terry Collins as a bench coach, but besides that, I don't really know. Miserable Mets fan asks, who's on first? So, that's where we're going to get a little bit deeper into this question. So, the options that I would be okay with at first base for the Mets this year: Ryan O'Hearn, Wilson Contreras, Luis Arias, Cody Bellinger. I have Paul Goldschmidt on there as a last option, but those first three guys that I mentioned, I'd be okay with. Particularly, I would like Wilson Contreras. I've heard that he has a very good glove. Oh, and Akamoto from Japan. Honestly, I think he's my number one. Akamoto. I mean, apparently he hit 30 home runs and he plays stellar defense. So I think if you get those 30 home runs here, and you get plus defense, I think that's a win. I'm not sure if it's lefty-righty, but I think Akamoto would be the best case scenario at first base. Next, I think Contreras, a trade for Contreras would be. Then I think O'Hearn, then Luis Arias, and then I'd rather keep Cody Bellinger in the outfield. But then worst comes to worst, Paul Goldschmidt. Now, I'm going to propose something that seems a little outlandish, but I think can work. Because he's young, he has a lot of versatility, he moved around this year. I think he can make a great adjustment to first base. And that would be moving Brett Beatty to first base. I know that might sound crazy. I know it might sound foolish. But let me put it this way. There's only one guy that I would consider moving Beatty over for, and that's Alex Bregman. If the Mets go out and sign Alex Bregman, I don't think you should take Beatty out of this roster. I think he's earned a spot. And I think that if he could play good defense at second base and third base, I think if you spend a whole offseason with him working first base, he could be very good at first base. He could be a plus defender. I mean, he's quick, he's young, he's agile. Things that Pete wasn't. So I think he'll be able to learn quickly. And anything gets him on the field. But Alex Bregman is the only guy I'd really do that for. I'm not saying I want Beatty to be our opening day first baseman. I'm not saying that they should move him. I'm saying if they sign Alex Bregman, they should try Beatty at first base. That's all I'm saying. Like I mentioned before, I think Cody Bellinger would be a no-brainer for the Mets right now. And they've yet to really make any kind of splash move. They just signed another minor league pitcher today, which I know is a depth move, but I can't, dude. I can't with these fucking minor league pitchers anymore. I can't. Give me something. Give us something. Give us something to be like, oh, okay. Okay, you're doing something. You're not just cutting money down for this fucking casino. Like, give us something, bro. When I saw the alert, I said, oh, Mets signed. I'm like, oh, who'd they sign? Maybe it was Jeff Passan. Nope. Nope. It was Mets signed some fucking bum from the Nationals to a minor league contract. Like, what? Again, depth move. Again, I don't really give a shit. Give me something. All right. Let's see. Dan Schwartz, my boy, asks, favorite Madden game I've played? Ooh, that's a tough one. I was a big Madden 13 guy. That was my first Madden. I liked Madden 07. I really liked Madden 10. That was pretty good. Anything past Madden 25, it's kind of been dog shit. I gotta be honest. Like maybe Madden 16. But Madden 17 sucked. 18, 19, 20 was okay. I liked 20. and everything for that, it's just been going downhill. Like, I got Madden 25, and it just, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me anymore. I'm on that college football grind. Like, college football is by far the superior game. In my opinion, everything runs smoother. The controls are easier. Everything just, but like Madden just looks so blocky. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the graphics look like almost not from the 80s, but like they just look choppy and like I don't like it. I don't like it. Lucci the Third asks, "How much do we all fucking hate David Stern? She deserves to be lynched." Like I said, about a 5. John Roppel asks, "What the fuck?" Which I've been saying to myself a lot lately. Boy Jared says, "Are players running away from our clubhouse? What's happening behind the scenes?" I really got to think about this for a second. So, you trade away Brandon Nimmo, who is the nicest guy on the face of the planet. You get rid of Alonso and Diaz. But you keep the one guy who has been in these reports of being bad in the locker room. His name is always right smack in the middle. The vibes always seem to go down whenever he's around. And that's Jeff McNeil. I like Jeff McNeil. I really do. I like him as a player. Met him a few times. I like him as a player. And I think he can be an asset in some way to a team just because of how many positions he plays. But if you want to talk about the locker room, you want to talk about the clubhouse, he's got to go. He's got to go. I mean, you think every report that's been about how bad the Mets clubhouse is, it's been Lindor, McNeil. And you're not going to trade Lindor. Sorry. McNeil has got to go. If he didn't have all this locker room drama and if he didn't have all this baggage with him, I would love to keep McNeil. I think McNeil's a good asset. Left-handed contact hitter that can play anywhere. And that is something, believe it or not, is very valuable to teams. Right? If you have a guy that you can plug and play anywhere, that's very valuable. But you want to keep talking about clubhouse, you bring in Marcus Semien for the clubhouse. Every report that's ever been about the Mets clubhouse has involved Jeff McNeil. So I asked this, why is he still here? Why have you not been calling? Why is there not reports of the Mets actively shopping Jeff McNeil? It's hard for me to wrap my head around because everything that I try to think has a complete and opposite reason for what's happening. Like, they trade away Nimmo for the clubhouse, but then they keep Jeff McNeil around. They want to do run prevention. They want to increase run prevention. But you let the best closer in baseball walk. I don't know if you know this, but when you strike out the side, runs don't happen. And Edwin Diaz did that a lot. Well, he gave us some heart attacks. Would it really be interesting if he didn't? He's the best for a reason. So, everything that he's kind of done can be contradicting in a way. And, I hope Devin Williams has a good year. But I don't have that confidence that I have with Diaz. I hope Marcus Semien is great for us. But I don't see him replacing Nimmo offensively. As much as Nimmo's up and down at the end of the year, he hit 260, 25 home runs, 95 RBIs. You're not getting that from Marcus Semien. You're not getting that from, I don't know who's going to be first base. I mean, I hope Beatty has a good year. I really think that Francisco Alvarez can have a breakout year if he looks like he did consistently last year. And I hope that the kids that come up, Benj and maybe Jet Williams, can produce. But again, that's all speculation. That's all out on the table. And you don't know how they're actually going to be. I understand wanting to give them a shot. Like, I do. The prospects. But there's a reason why they're prospects and not major league players. You don't know how they're going to pan out. There's always that uncertainty. So you say you want to contend this year, but yet you get rid of a team that can contend. So everything just is very contradicting of what Stearns has done so far, I believe. I hope he has this big master plan, and I hope it all works out. But I genuinely don't see a direction where the Mets are a better team without Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz. Like Brandon Nimmo, I could see maybe, okay. Yeah, he's getting a little bit older. His defense is not as good. His arm is a noodle. We all know that. That I could see. But replacing the runs that Pete produced, that's a very, very, very hard task. And I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if Stearns is up to that. I really don't. So, I guess I got kind of off track here. I don't think the clubhouse is as big as a cancer as people in the media are trying to make it out to be, specifically Mike Puma. I mean, we have to remember, this is New York, right? These journalists do this shit all the time. This is what happens. This is New York media for you. This doesn't happen in Colorado. This doesn't happen in Oakland. This doesn't happen in small markets like Kansas City. Right? This is the New York media for you. Making up articles, making up clickbait to get people talking. Right? Because they want to get their name out otherwise. When, going to the Lindor and Soto thing, right? Are you friends with all your coworkers? I've been over this before. I mean, think like this is a job to them. And this is not JV baseball. This is not your varsity baseball team. This is not your travel team, right? Like you're not playing for fun. You're playing for money. Like this is your job. You go in, you clock out. This is what it's like for them. And I don't expect them. I expect them to get along. I also expect them to be all buddy. Like I don't care that Juan Soto's only hanging out with Starling Marte. Like I don't really care. They're boys. Like who cares? Lindor's hanging out with his wife and his kids. Like people see like Lindor's not hanging out with Soto. Why does he have to? Why does he have to hang out with Soto? He doesn't have to hang out with Soto. Wouldn't you think you'd rather hang out with his wife and his 3 kids? 2 kids, or however many kids he's got? I mean, I don't see Lindor hanging out with anybody besides that. Like, if the whole team was out to a dinner, right, and Soto's not there, then I'd be like, okay, like, that's kind of weird. But, like, just seeing Soto hanging out with this boy, and you're like, oh, where the fuck is Lindor? Like, it's stupid. It's just stupid. And Mike Puma being like, well, Soto doesn't like Lindor because he likes fashion. It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you see videos and documentaries and shit all the time of how hard Lindor works, and how hard Soto works. Puma said that Soto is more go in cold-hearted, do your work, go home. Like Lindor's like that too. He just likes to dress fancy. He just likes to dress. Like there's no, like I don't know. A guy can't express himself anymore. It's just like people, they have personalities, man. Like, I don't think the clubhouse is this cancerous. I really don't. I think if you want to make it less cancerous, you get rid of Jeff McNeil. But you know what? That's something you have to think about. If they really think that this clubhouse is like this, like decaying feature in the organization, then all right. Change it. Like, I don't know what's going on in there. You don't know what's going on in there. And I can tell you what, as much as the reporters think they know what's going on in there, they don't. Unless they get it from a player themselves. All right. So, Peroto Ben, I hope I'm saying that right, has 3 questions. How to alleviate the pain and suffering, Miller High Life, Miller Lite, Bud Light, Busch Light, Budweiser, Jack Daniels apple. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. I'm putting you on right now. Listen very closely to what I'm about to say. If you take Jack Daniels green apple or proper 12 green apple or sour apple, whatever it is, and you just mix it with sour mix and make a whiskey sour, I'm telling you, it tastes like apple juice and it will get you fucked up. If you like apple juice and you like getting fucked up, then you take Jack Daniels green apple and you mix it with sour mix. I'm telling you, it's like apple juice. I could drink that shit all night. My girlfriend got me a small bottle of that for my birthday or one of our anniversaries, and I finished it in like a night. It's terrible to say, but it was so good. Anyways, that's how you lead the pain and suffering. Does Stearns acquire someone? If so, who? Or will he just sit on his ass all winter? It's hard for me to believe that he won't sign anybody because he has been aggressive in the past, and it's not like he's gotten here and he's never signed anybody. Like, he signed people. In his first year, he made the right signings. This year, contracts like Frankie Montas and Paul Blackburn did not make the right signings. He signed Iglesias. He signed Winker. We're done signing Winker. He traded for Winker. He signed Bader. Like, he's signing players. He's never been a GM that hasn't signed players, so it's hard for me to believe that he won't get anybody. My problem is I don't see what is better or what is even on par with what you let walk out the door. That's my problem. I think you can. The only thing I can think is if you sign Kyle Tucker and if you sign Eugenio Suarez to be your full-time DH, just get a little pop in that lineup. He's going to bat 220, but he'll hit 35 plus home runs. I don't know. So I don't think he's going to sit his ass. I do think that the Mets are going to have a much better roster by opening day. I really do, and I really want to believe it. I just don't think we're going to look at the roster from this year. Well, I don't think we're going to look at that roster and look at the roster last year and say it's comparable in any way. I do think and hope that there will be a competitive roster, but it's hard for me to find a competitive roster right now. And the last question you asked is, how does this get fixed? Well, I'm going to go onto my Twitter page. Again, you can find it at Mets Shitposting on Twitter. I was going to do a few more of these, but I figured I'd save them, and I also kind of got sidetracked. So I said off-season scenario number 1. Trade for Wilson Contreras to play first base and Lars Nootbaar in a package deal. Sign Cody Bellinger to play center field, left field, or first base. Sign Suarez to be a pure DH. Sign Michael King. Re-sign Tyler Rogers. And Dylan Ross, who's a prospect, makes bullpen out of the spring training. A package deal for Contreras and Lars Nootbaar. I think it would be hopefully one of our lower end prospects and maybe MLB ready player. Maybe like Jeff McNeil. Maybe Ronny Mauricio. Wow, which I'd be fine with. I'd hope to trade for another starting pitcher or sign another starting pitcher. But at this point, again, there's been no inkling or any rumors that the Mets are being aggressive in any market for anybody. So he might just sit on his ass. Who knows? All-season scenario number 2. Sign Kazuma Okamoto, which I think would be the best option. Trade for Luis Robert Jr., which I don't really like, but you'll hear my thought behind it in a second. Sign Cody Bellinger to be left field, re-sign Starling Marte, and sign Framber Valdez. Now, my thought behind Luis Robert Jr. is that you give him a shot. You don't trade any of your big prospects away, and you give him a chance. Maybe he gets refreshed in a new place, new ball club, a hopefully winning ball club. And if he sucks, you know who you bring up? You bring up Carson Bench and you plug him right there, sit him on the bench and say, all right, well, we tried. That's how I think they can begin to fix this. So that's it for the story. And so I'm going to go to the comments of the ones I posted. We got 15 questions here. So, Charlie A82809 asks, if you could pick a team besides the Mets, what would it be? And that answer is the Cubs. I guess, in my heart, I need to be a fan of a painful baseball team. Obviously, the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, and they're doing pretty good. But historically, I mean, didn't win the World Series for 120-something years, right? So, my answer is the Cubs. I love the Cubs. If you had to choose between a kid with no eyes and no ears and had Down syndrome, or Stearns to run the team, who'd you pick? Probably Stearns, but I would keep that kid waiting. Fuck, marry, kill, Lindor, Soto, Alonso. Marry Soto for the money. I guess kill Alonso because he's not here, and fuck Lindor. At this point in the offseason, would you rather the Mets take a step back this year, not make any major signings or trade, and hone in for 2027, or try to put a competitive team out there? It says Nick Chapello. I hope I said that right. And last question was Enrique Elverde. So, Nick asks, would I rather the Mets kind of punt this year and focus on 2027 or compete? I want to compete, man. I want to compete. I want to see World Series. Like, I don't want a punt year. I don't. I really don't. I want to see a competitive baseball team. But the problem is, like, at the end of the day, is there any team that's going to compete with the Dodgers? Is there any team that's going to really compete with the Dodgers? I really do think that there's going to be a lockout soon, and if they get Skubal, it's over. Like, if the Dodgers get Tara Skubal, there's no point of watching baseball. Like, there really isn't. It's literally like they built a fucking fantasy team. There's no point. So I'd like to be competitive this year, while there's still hopefully a chance. And again, who knows? Who knows? You know, maybe the team that Stearns builds will be good, but you never know. God, this is scary. It's scary. KJ Artie 21 asks, would you be willing to give up? What would you be willing to give up for a solid first baseman in a trade, and who would that be? I don't know any first basemen that are really available besides Contreras. There's not a lot of first basemen that stick out of me. I guess Contreras, and I'd be willing to give up. I don't really know. Probably like not like a low end prospect, but like a number 11 prospect, like Jack Wenninger or maybe Morabito, because Contreras is getting up there in age, and you know he's not a very big power hitter. He'll hit like 20 home runs, hit for a decent average, but I don't think he's anything worth giving up a top prospect for. Is Nolan McLean the day one starter by opening day, or we get an ace? Nolan McLean will be the opening day starter. I'm willing to bet a lot on that. Because unless they trade for a Freddie Peralta, a Joe Ryan, a Chris Bubich, I believe that Michael King and Framber Valdez and any other starting pitcher on this market is a second pitcher. Is a... What do you call it? They're the second pitcher or the third pitcher. They're not frontline ace guys. They're really not. I think Freddie Peralta, if you get him, he's a frontline ace. I think Joe Ryan is a frontline ace. Not really. I think Joe Ryan might be too. I think Nolan McLean is going to be very good. We keep talking about this ace that we have. We keep talking about this ace that we need, but I think we might already have him. I was very high on Nolan McLean all year. Love Nolan McLean. A Fish in the Bowl asks, if we can, Stearns, who are the likely candidates to pick up the team? What? If we can, Stearns, who are the likely candidates to pick up the team? Who would we like to see? I mean, I've always said Cody Bellinger. That's my thing. I think you got to sign Bellinger and work from there. That's my opinion. The lineup will look a little bit better if you plug Cody Bellinger in there. You got Lindor, Soto, Bellinger. Be all right. Dace1104 asks, would you pull the trigger on the Tarik Skubal trade? If so, who would you be willing to let go? Who would you want to keep? I'd want to keep Carson Bench. I think that if they really want Jonah Tong, I think Skubal's the guy you pull it for. I hope that the trade will come with a contract extension, which I do think some reports said that if the Mets were going to make a trade for Skubal, that there would be a contract extension that comes along with it. So I think you have to secure that first before I'd move Jonah Tong. I'd want to keep on to one of Tong or Sproat, but if they want both of them, I would have to listen, or maybe they want a David Peterson, or maybe Manaea or Senga. But in my mind, I always thought, if they trade for Tarik Skubal, and the Lions wanted Tong and Sproat, obviously more, but I'm thinking of these two guys. I would be completely fine with it if they signed Valdez or King, because then now in my mind you're replacing Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat with Tarik Skubal and let's say Valdez or King, right? You're so replacing 2 for 2. That's my boy math way of doing it, right? That's how I see it, as being like, okay, you know what? We got rid of 2 prospects, but we got Tarik Skubal, who needs no introduction, and Michael King or Framber Valdez, right? So now I think if your rotation looks more like Tarik Skubal, Noah McLean, Framber Valdez, like now you're talking. Now you're talking. And then you got whoever stays, either Peterson, Manaea, Holmes, Senga, right? And let's not forget we have Christian Scott still. I think Christian Scott's going to have a great year. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I hope he does. And also Tyler McGill. Also, they should look to trade Tyler McGill. I really whatever. Fuck him. Do we associate yourselves with this team? For example, do we wear Mets gear in public? Asks JJSTTS76. Not for right now. I'd honestly kind of keep that on the low a little bit. I wouldn't be wearing any Mets stuff in public right now, unless you want to get clowned. I would wait until the roster kind of fully gets set, and then if it looks any decent, you can maybe wear a Mets hat. But be ready to hear, oh, they got rid of Pete, oh, they got rid of Diaz, they got rid of Nimmo, and they did nothing, and they suck. So, you know. Hayden Mercer asked, do I want a Eugenio Suarez? And I answered to that, yes, I do. I think that he can help replace some of the runs that Pete missed, at least some of the home runs. He'd be a full-time DH. My only problem is that Mark Vientos would have to play first base unless you trade him, which I would be open to trading Mark Vientos right now. Max Leibowitz asked, go-to field at City Food. The sausage and pepper, by far. Next question. Xavier Torres asked, do you still have faith/trust in Cohen? It's 5 years and he's made false promises. I do, because it really, Cohen's put his money where his mouth is, literally. We haven't seen, at least in the past, Cohen being afraid to spend money. I mean, he signed Juan Soto. He spent a lot of money on Scherzer and Verlander. He gives the money, man. He really does, and he's trying. But again, he can only hire the right person and hope that they do the job well, because he's not a baseball analytical guy. He's a Met fan. He's not the one that's making decisions. He's not the one making roster moves. He's not the one doing this and that. That's Stearns, and he hired Stearns. And at that time, David Stearns was the best option at GM. So I still have a lot of faith in Steve Cohen. I hope that this casino wasn't kind of just it. Now he got it. He's like, okay, I'm done. I don't think so, because I don't think he wouldn't need the Mets to do good if he didn't want a casino. I think he really wants the Mets to succeed. And I think that in the past, right, the big spending money hasn't worked, and I think that they're trying to go a different direction, spending their money wisely. I mean, Mets were second in payroll and missed the playoffs, so it shows that it's not directly correlated. But I do trust fully in Steve Cohen, maybe fully, maybe like 90%. But Cohen, yeah, I do. Like he bought the team during COVID. That was a tough year. Made the playoffs once, first round exit. Terrible 2023, 2024 NLCS. So, I mean, we look at the spot that we're in, and look at the spot where we were. I mean, like, look at the Wilpons. Are we really better off? Like, we're so much better off now than we ever were. Because we have an owner that is willing to spend money. And I think that's a great thing. What, did he deliver his promise? No. Was that realistic? Probably not. But the attitude is there, and the money is there. The results hopefully will come. But his results of spending money have come. He spent the money, 100%. There's no doubt about it. So I do have faith in Cohen. Kenny asks, what should David Stern's public shaming punishment be? I think his punishment should be having to sign someone do a 5-year contract in public and see how he reacts. He might burst into flames if he has to do that. M. Ortiz 1018 asks, trade or keep the following players: Jeff McNeil, Jet Williams, Ryan Clifford, Acuna, Senga, Ronnie Mauricio, and Mark Vientos. Jeff McNeil, trade. Jet Williams, keep. Ryan Clifford, keep. Acuna, I'd trade for the right deal. But I think Acuna is very valuable off the bench piece. He can play a lot of different positions. He's very fast. And he's a great base runner. So I would be willing to trade Acuna because I don't think his bat is ever going to be at a high enough level to play every day. But right now, if you need a bench guy, Acuna's good. And I'd move him for the right price. Senga, trade. Goodbye. Ronnie Mauricio, adios. Mark Vientos, again, for the right price. I still do believe in Mark Vientos. I think it's hard to say that his first year was just a fluke. Because baseball is such a hard sport. Just hitting the ball is such a hard thing to do. That skill is in there somewhere. And you know, let's not forget this guy is still a rookie. He's like Stearns. He had one good year, and he had one bad year. He needs a third year. And if he's really fucking stinking it at the deadline, I'd move him. If he's batting like below 230 at the deadline, and he's got like 11 home runs, yeah, I'd move him. But Senga and Ronnie, I'd kiss their ass goodbye tomorrow. I mean, I love Senga, but he doesn't pitch at the fifth. He's always hurt. And Ronnie has got enough chances. So, and last question, Skennedy47 asks, get Scooble? Hopefully. But there's only so much that we can hope for. Like I said, if you're going to trade for Scooble, I'd like to sign another pitcher and really go at it. I don't think Scooble himself, he obviously makes his rotation great, but you could do a lot better. So, this last section, I'm going to talk about my ideal Mets lineup. I'm trying to be realistic, right? If I said my dream lineup, obviously it would be, like Pete Beck, I guess Simeon, like Kyle Tucker, obviously, like all the big names, right? But that's not realistic. I'm going to try to lean into David Stearns' thinking right now. More defense, right? I think if he really wants to go with the defense thing, you sign Okamoto. That'd be my first thing. You sign Okamoto. So Okamoto plays first base, Simeon and Lindor up the middle, and Brett Beatty at third base. Alvarez behind the plate, and Soto in right field. I think you sign Cody Bellinger to play center field or left field. And I think Tyrone Taylor is probably going to be the opening day center fielder, but I think Carson Bench will be on the team. I think he'll be on the bench. And I really hope that Carson Bench pans out. Or Jet Williams, because they both play center field. So one of those two guys can switch on and off. Or maybe both of them makes the team out spring training. I mean, Jet Williams plays infield too, so, who knows? But ideally, I have Bench in center field and I have Bellinger in left, so the whole lineup looks like Okamoto at first, Semien at second, Lindor at short, Beatty at third, Alvarez catching, Soto in right, Bench in center, and Cody Bellinger in left. Rotation-wise, I would love a trade for Freddie Peralta. I think he's probably the best trade piece available besides Skubal. I like most realistic trade piece available. And we all know how David Stearns loves the Brewers. So, I would like the rotation to look something like Freddie Peralta, Nolan McLean, David Peterson, Sean Manaea, and Christian Scott. Maybe Brandon Sproat. Who knows? And the bullpen, I can't. If I start talking about minor leaguers again, I'm going to fucking freak out. I hope Dylan Ross makes the team out spring training. He got pulled up for the last game of the year, and they didn't use him. It hurt his name all year. So I think he's going to be very good. And I do think that if you're going to go lean into your prospects and lean into all of them, any guys that seems MLB ready, try it. See what happens. Let's see. Do I got anything else? That's going to be it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Sounds weird to say that, but whatever. Anyone that has doubts, anyone that's pessimistic right now, which is everybody, let's just try and give it time. That's all I could say. Obviously, I saw the press conference of Pete and Edwin in their new uniforms. And it sucked. It kind of hurt hearing Pete say, let's go O's. Excuse me. Yeah, hearing Pete say let's go O's and not let's go Mets. That actually made me so sad. It struck a chord in my heart, man. But hopefully the page that we turn is a great chapter. And I think all that we can do now is, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say that B word that we love to use so much. The only thing that we can do now is believe. And just try. And hold on, because they're gone. It's over. It's done. Rip the Band-Aid off. That's it. As much as it sucks, and I hate it, and I don't like it, I think it's terrible moves. We gotta just try and move forward. But that's the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all your questions. Had a lot of fun doing this one. And I will see you guys next time.